I just suggested you get a gym membership, okay? You used to love going.
Women have eyes too. It wouldn't hurt you to go once in a while, McFatty.
Well, you two can sail together for a while, but if either one of you just diverts 1 degree, you'll be sailing apart. What you need is a captain. Yeah, I'm gonna be your captain.
Okay, Captain. She locked me outside the house for 2 hours the other night.
It was an accident. I was asleep.
You were not asleep. It was 7 o'clock, and I could see you peeking through the blinds. Do you not get that? I could see you.
Well, if you'd had bothered to call, tell me you were having a guy's night, I would have left the door unlocked.
Guy, I was an hour late. I went to Save Mart to pick up some celery.
Bruce.
What?
Whatever she says is always right, even if it isn't. You know what I mean? Whatever he says, he's always right.
Amen. You wanted to come to him. Listen.
Men need to lead well.
Yeah, but trying to lead her is like trying to lead a camel through the eye of a needle, you know what I'm saying?
Oh, so now I'm a camel.
If we're judging by the way you chew, then yeah.
Hold it. Let's get some perspective here. The needle that we're talking about refers to a gate in Jerusalem, which, by the way, is very difficult to get a camel through, but it can be done. There is hope. It can be done.
Thanks, Dr. Phil.
Well, it's actually Chuck. Thank you. That was a nice compliment. Oh, communication is the key, and setting a good example. Keep that in mind, because your children will follow that example. How do your children communicate?
I just hope the kids don't follow in his footsteps. I just want a girl, someone who can understand me.
We agreed on 2, okay? And besides, naming one Sasha should have made up for it.
Oh, like Oswald is any better.
It is better.
I just want a girl.
We'll get a doll, okay? I'm done with kids. 2 is a great number. 2 is biblical. I mean, what would have happened if there had been 3 rhinos on the ark? All right, one would have felt left out. He would have rebelled, and who knows, but that rhino would have ended up sinking the whole ship, and none of us would be here, and we wouldn't even have 2. So be thankful.
Are you kidding me?
No.
Well, if you want to have 3, you folks had better get doing some whoopee. Yeah. Let me ask you 2 questions. How's your sex life?
Sex life? That's an oxymoron in our home.
Oh, yeah, looks like time's up for this week, kids.
Great. We've spent all our time reacting instead of responding.
Okay, big words, huh? Kiss up.
Hey, good things come out of bad situations. I mean, where would Celine Dion be if the Titanic hadn't sunk? Get my drift?
Look, can you tell her that I just want her to exercise so she can get rid of some of her pent-up aggression?
Can you tell him his favorite exercise won't be happening for a long time?
Do you want me to pay? Don't tell me that. Don't tell me that. I'm tired of hearing that.
A lot of laughing. You guys don't understand that. You guys don't relate to that, do you, at all? Yeah. Communication is key. And this morning, as we jump into this hashtag marriage apps, we're going to be talking again about application, and we're going to be talking about communication. And my title is My Stupid Mouth. And my stupid mouth, it gets me in trouble a lot. And so we're going to be talking about our mouths and how do we work through this. And I want you to know, if you're here and you're like, well, I'm not married, this doesn't apply to me. No, don't check out. Because if you're not married, you may be engaged, or you may be dating, or you may have people. If you're any normal human, for the most part, you like people or relationships. I don't always like people, but I love them. But don't always like situation. But yeah, if you are in any kind of relationship, communication is the key. And so we're going to be talking about that. Last week, we talked about our first app that Pastor Bill gave us, and we were talking about it's what you do that makes a difference. I hope that last week you took what he shared and applied it to your life, that you took it and applied it, because it is the things that we do that make a difference. Actions speak louder than words. His main application from last week was make love a verb, to live it out in our lives. When you love somebody, you'll do crazy things for them. And so living it out is huge and it's important. Ephesians chapter 5, verse 21, it says, submit to one another out of reverence for Christ. And we're going to be working through this and what that submission looks like, truly looks like from God's word, not because it's, as we read on in these verses, it gets taken out of context and, well, wives, you need to submit to your husbands and do what he says and all this kind of stuff. And, well, it says it, but not that way. And it says that husbands should love their wives as Christ loved the church, giving up everything for them. And so we're going to be talking about this and how to do this. And this morning, it's going to be through communication. Today, as we talk about communication, as I said, it's important in many ways. But when it comes to marriage, here's just a small stack of books that I have that relates to marriage. There's this one here is Date Your Wife, A Husband's Guide. Good stuff. You and Me Forever, Marriage in Light of Eternity. Devotions for dating couples. So, dating, devotions, good. This one's called The Marriage Book. Over 170,000 copies have been sold of this, so that means there's 170,000 marriages that are just perfect out there. Almost through it. The Zimzum of Love, A New Way of Understanding Marriage. We have the 5 love languages. I remember reading this book. They had the 5 love languages for young men, for husbands. They have the 5 love languages for kids. They have the 5 love languages for your neighbor that has a barking dog next door. There's a lot of things. There's a lot of love languages, and so that's good. The Language of Sex, good book. Check it out. Now You're Speaking My Language. Sacred Marriage. This one's my favorite. If you're busy people, you're on the move, get the audio book of this one, The 7-Minute Marriage Solutions. How to undo everything that you've screwed up in 7 years. No, it's a good one, good one. 8 Habits of Love, Open Your Heart, Open Your Mind. The Uncommon Marriage. Real Marriage, The Truth About Sex, Friendship, and Life Together. The Bible. And that's where we're going to land. There's some great stuff here, and there's some great applications that can be taken from these. But for me in my life, the one that's meant the most is this, God's Word, and how we apply it to our lives, and how we apply it to communicating with others. Jesus teaches us how to communicate in His Word. And that is where we're going to go this morning, and that's what we're going to look at. We're going to look at these ways. If you don't get anything at all, I want you to get this. This is our application right here. Communication requires listening with your heart. Some of you women are going, no, dummy, it's your ears. Well, no, it is. It starts with your heart. It starts with your heart, and we're going to talk about this. Learning to communicate, there are a few things we're going to look at. And the first one is this, is we're going to look at how do we respond. How are you responding to situations and in communication? Are you like a horse ready to jump out of the gate and go? Or are you like a turtle ready to race? Where are you at? How do you respond? Responding is huge. Proverbs 15:1 says this, a gentle answer turns away wrath, but a harsh word stirs up anger. I love the book of Proverbs. If you've never read through the book of Proverbs, it's a great book to read through. It just comes through the door, doesn't beat around the bush, doesn't hand you cotton candy. It's a good book to read because it just gets right to the point. It cuts deep and it cuts quick, and it just tells you what you need to change about yourself. It's great. The whole Bible does that, but I love Proverbs. It's one of my favorites to read. A gentle answer turns away wrath, but a harsh word stirs up anger. How is it that you're responding? There are 2 ways generally that we respond. There's a verbal response, and that's spoken words and what you say. And there's the nonverbal response, our body language, rolling of eyes, crossing arms, choosing not to say anything, the evil eye. Man, let me tell you about the evil eye. My mom, I remember in high school, at some point in high school, I just thought I was a big dude, and I did get taller than my mom. My mom was very tall. She was almost 6 foot tall. And at some point, I wasn't living my life for the Lord. I didn't have a relationship with him. And I got in her face, and I said a word that I shouldn't have said, and she let me know it real quick. And she clocked me, man, like full fist, boom, like uppercut out of nowhere, boom, I hit the floor. And so my mom had this eye, and so I knew what it meant, especially after that moment. I knew that when I seen that eye, it meant, mess with me, I'm gonna knock you out again. Think Mike Tyson taught her a few things. Crazy thing, my wife has that same eye. Like, man, what is the deal? Our body language, nonverbal, can mean a lot. It can cut, it can hurt. How we communicate, how we respond is important. It's ideal. One thing, if I've had a challenging day at work and, my secretary's giving me a hard time or whatever, just kidding, Jane. No. No, but maybe I haven't had a good day. Maybe I've got caught by the train 14 times here in Auburn. What is the deal with that? Anyways, that's another topic. As I get home, it's not good to go in, yell at the kids, kick the dog, and knock over the trash can. It does nobody any good. Our response is important. I want us to think about that. How do we respond in situations? How do we respond at school? How do we respond at work to people? How do we respond at home? How do we respond to God when he calls us to do something? Timing is everything. Timing is important. And I've learned this lesson over time, and I'm still learning this lesson. How you say things and when you say them is pretty big. My buddy Tim Hawkins, I'm going to let him share a song that he wrote, guys, and some things that you should not say to your wife, okay? So take note of this. These are some things that we probably shouldn't say to our wives. Let's watch Tim.
Hey honey, have you gained some weight in your rear end? The dress you wear reminds me of my old girlfriend. And where'd you get those shoes? I think they're pretty lame. Would you stop talking? I'm trying to watch the game. If you're a man who wants to live a long and happy life, these are the things you don't say to your wife. I planned a hunting trip next week on your birthday. I didn't ask you, but I knew we'd be okay. Go make some dinner while I watch this fishing show. I taped it over our old wedding video. If you're a man who wants to live a long and happy life, these are the things that don't fit to your life. Solo. Thank you. Your cooking is okay, but not like Mother makes. The diamond in the ring I bought you is a fake. Your eyes look puffy, dear. Are you feeling ill? Happy anniversary, sweetie. Bought you a treadmill. If you're a man who wants to live a long and happy life, these are the things you don't say to your wife. Yeah. Thanks.
I couldn't have said it better myself. And I heard some amens, ladies. Timing is everything, and how we say it, when we say it. Proverbs 17:2 says, even fools are thought wise if they keep silent, and discerning if they hold their tongues. There are some issues that they just need to be dealt with, and the time is now, but there are some times when you need to take a step back. At work at times, maybe you need to just jump in and get things done and say, we can't do it that way, it needs to be done this way. But there are times at home, timing is everything. Maybe you need a few minutes to just cool down. You have a drive home. Pray on your way home. Ask God to just remove the junk and the stress of your day so that your timing is right. Timing is a big part of it. This is one that happened this week in my life, and I'm like, wow, I can use this in the message today. To have a serious conversation at the dinner table if you have kids is probably not the best idea. It's just not going to work well. You know, you get home, and I love it because my boys are happy to see me, and it's like full-on tackle football at the door, you know, both of them just, you know, and so they're not gracious at all. But it's awesome to love on those little guys, and then we sit down at the dinner table, and they, you know, we start talking, and how was work, and how are the kids, and we're talking, we're chatting, and then, you know, you got at the other end, you got my very energetic 2-year-old who is just like, he's ready to take on the world right now, Jed, and he's just like, Daddy, how you doing, Dad? Hey, Daddy, Jed pee on the potty today, you know, and all this cool stuff. And hey, man, when a 2-year-old pees on the potty, it's a big deal. You know, you do the potty dance and all that good stuff, man. Woo, you know, high fives and it's all kinds of good stuff. And then we got Jack over there, and he's telling me about school, and he was a super student today, and he got a sticker, and he's in the School Hall of Fame because of it, and, you know, and I'm raising my voice, and I'm talking to Laura about this important thing, and it's just like, that's not the time. That's not the time. So you got to set aside that right time for certain things, you know? Right then at that moment, it's time to talk about these guys in their day, and they're excited. They're excited to tell me about their successes, their wins, you know? Timing is everything. Set aside time after your kids go to bed to talk, to communicate with your spouse. Oftentimes, it's easy to get wrapped up in life and other things and miss those opportunities. It's huge. Timing is huge. Guys, I have to tell you, there's one thing I still am trying to understand in women. I'm sorry, but there's just this thing, and it's called humidity, and it really throws things off in the universe, especially for hair. You know, like if it's a humid day, you laugh because you understand, bro. Man, I know. Yeah. If it's a humid day, it's better to have a curly hair day. But if they were planning for a straight hair day, it's not a good thing. Okay? That's all I can tell you. And I can remember a time when I was like, you know, we're running behind, like, we got to get to church, we got to go, you know, like, we're supposed to leave 25 minutes ago. I'm going to start the car. And then she walks out, and I say, Laura, your hair looks great today. Well, what? My hair doesn't look good every other day? No, I wasn't saying that, you know. No, I didn't say that at all. Timing is everything. That's not the time, guys. You know, on the other hand, you know, I don't always communicate. Guys, we're men of few words, you know, and I wish women could understand us. You know, I'm like, hey, Laura, after church today, the Tin Caps are playing at home, 3 o'clock. What does that mean? That means, hey, I want to go to the baseball game. They just don't get it, you know? So timing and communication is huge, is important. You know, 2 o'clock. Hey, you know the Tin Caps were playing in town today, and it's autograph day. So what are you saying, she says. I want to go to the game. Timing, understanding each other, taking time to do that is huge. A wise prophet once said this. I'm going to read this to you. Great wise prophet. I really suggest you check this guy out. Let me read what he says first, and I'll tell you who he is. He says this: my stupid mouth has got me in trouble. I said too much again to a date over dinner yesterday, and I could see she was offended. She said, well, anyway, just dying for a subject change. Oh, it's another social casualty. Score one more for me. How could I forget? Mama said, think before speaking. No filter in my head. Oh, what's a boy to do? I guess he better find one soon. That wise prophet, I don't know if you guys ever heard of him, John Mayer. He's a great songwriter. He's a wise prophet. He wrote this song. Check it out. That was just a joke. It's okay. But I'll call John after and tell him it didn't work well in the second gathering. But John Mayer, he writes a lot of songs. He wrote this song, and I was listening to this song last weekend. And I'm using that. That's me, my stupid mouth. It gets me in trouble by the things that I say and I do. The third thing here is going to take time to understand and listen. And this is where we miss the mark, guys, gals, and everything. In conversations and in communication, we're always looking. When we're talking to people, we're always preparing what we're going to say next, and we often miss what's being communicated to us or trying to be communicated to us. In James chapter 1, 19 through 22, it says this: my dear brothers and sisters, take note of this. Everyone should be quick to listen, slow to speak, slow to become angry, because human anger does not produce the righteousness that God desires. Therefore, get rid of all moral filth and the evil that is so prevalent, and humbly accept the word planted in you, which can save you. Do not merely listen to the words and so deceive yourselves. Do what it says. Do what it says. So many times we get this backwards, and we're quick to speak, and we're slow to listen, and we're quick to become angry because we want to defend ourselves and we want to defend our right. And we see this on Facebook. Somewhere there's a disclaimer in there that Facebook is a great place for us to vent ourselves about anything. Facebook can be a great tool. Facebook, I've even used it. I had used it. Hey, I'm telling you what though, Facebook, when DirecTV doesn't do what they say they're supposed to do, it's a great way to get what you need. I'm telling you. They call you pretty doggone quick. No, but we use it. We use it in ways necessarily that we shouldn't. We should take time to understand and listen. Hear one another out. I don't want to hear about a relationship problem on Facebook. I hate that scumbag, ... And then everybody comments. We jump to conclusions. We jump too soon a lot of times. We need to learn to take time to understand and listen in any relationship. Ephesians 5:25 says that we're to love our wives as Christ loved the church, giving up everything for her. But this applies to all of us in any relationship. Be willing to listen, as James chapter 1 says, to listen. Quick to listen, slow to speak, slow to become angry. Anger doesn't produce righteousness that God desires for us. We need to have quality communication time in order for a relationship to be healthy. We read a book as staff here called Crucial Conversations, and it's just a great book, and it's a great business book, and if you've never read it, read it, because it will help you and teach you how to have some of those crucial conversations that need to take place. Understanding and listening. In order for me to understand my wife, I need to listen. And guys, women, all of us, a quality conversation doesn't happen through text message or Facebook. Put your phone down, turn off the football game, turn off the Pioneer Woman. She cooks some great stuff, but record that sucker. You can go back and check it out later. I love the Pioneer Woman, man. She cooks some good food. And my wife cooks some good food out of that, and you can tell. Yeah. But here's the deal. We've got to take time to listen and understand. As we bring this all home and we bring it all together, you're not going to be able to listen and understand others if you don't have a pretty good relationship with Christ. Your relationship with God is huge. When I said communication starts with the heart, I meant it. That's where it starts. See, a lot of these marriage problems that we hear, and I've had opportunities to sit with couples, and it's like what we saw on the screen at first, pointing the finger and this and that, and you're the problem. And here's the deal. Here's the deal, ladies. I want you to know this right now. This little secret. If you're not married yet, but you're thinking about getting married, the guy that you want to marry, you are not going to change him. You are not going to change him at all. God has to change him. And God has to change you. And we have to start with us. God has to change us. And it starts in our heart. And it starts with our relationship with him. And this is the problem. Today we live in a society that just throws everything away, man. If it breaks, just get a new one. My kids have bought into it. Oh, Dad, if it breaks, you can just buy me a new one. Sure. No, I can't buy you a new one. That's a lot of money. Not happening. If a relationship doesn't work, just run away from it. Don't get married, just live together. Cool, whatever. There's a reason, there's a problem in this, man. There's a problem in the world today because of this kind of stuff. The cool thing about a relationship with Christ is it's just between you and him. It's between you and God and nobody else. And it can be the best thing that you want it to be, or it can be the worst thing. But that's up to you. I just want to share with you my heart, and I know what's changed my life and begin to make my marriage better. I've been in this thing 10 years, and I'll tell you what I do, guys. This is the best advice someone ever gave me. Every morning when I wake up, roll over, look at my wife, I say, honey, I love you. I just want you to know I'm sorry. And she says, for what? For all the stupid things I'm going to say today. That way I'm covered all day, guys. Works good. Yeah, yep, works real good. Understanding and listening comes through a relationship with Christ, through understanding Him and listening to Him. In most situations in our lives, like I said, we're talking to somebody, we're waiting to give them our answer in the way that we want to give it to them, in the way that we think we should respond, and we don't take time to listen. When it comes to God, when it comes to praying, if or when you pray, shoot out a little prayer. God, I just pray for so-and-so. I pray for this test. I pray for this situation. I pray for this. Amen. And we move on. How many of you have great one-sided relationships where you do all the talking? You probably don't. Communication is a two-way street. We've got to take time to listen to God and what it is that He wants to do in our lives. He will change us. He will change our hearts if we listen. If we truly listen to Him. That's where it starts. You start there in your relationships at home with your spouses, with whoever it is. They're going to grow and they will change in a positive way if you start by listening to God. This is the last thing that we need to do, and we're going to talk about, is praying together. Praying together as a couple, as an engaged couple, as a dating couple. Maybe you've been married 50 years, 5 years, 15, I don't care. Pray together. You say, what? I got to do what? I don't like praying out loud. Stretch yourself. Grow yourself. Pray. I want to give you some statistics real quick on marriage that I read. And committed Christian couples in the United States. Don't know what number that is, but I know what they're relating to. I'm talking about Bible-believing Christians who are truly living their lives for the Lord. Only 10% of them, only 10% of those couples pray together. But in that 10% that pray together, there's less than a 1% divorce rate. Less than 1% get divorced. In that, those that are committed to Christ in their relationship as a couple, there's still a 25% divorce rate. And in those in this world that call themselves Christians, which is huge, there's a 50% divorce rate or better, which is the same as the world. Wow, he's right. There's not a difference. But living your life for the Lord and for Christ and allowing your heart to be changed can change your marriage. Is it tough? Is it challenging? Absolutely. But it's work, and it takes understanding, and it takes listening to one another. And this comes through praying, through you praying. You're maybe thinking, yeah, I'm going to pray for him all right. You got the wrong attitude. You have got the wrong attitude. And maybe you're thinking, well, I wish she was here today, or I wish he was here today because he's out hunting. Just because it's bow season, he thinks he's got to hunt. Start with your heart. Start with your heart. That's where we start. What do we talk about? I don't know what to talk about. Hey, man, ask her if she likes plain M&Ms or peanut M&Ms. It'll start a conversation. Hey, it works. Pray for something that matters. Have a heart-to-heart talk. Do you know what her favorite color is? Do you know the things that bother her? I mean, you probably know the things that bother you that she does, or you know the things that bother you that he does, but what are things that you enjoy? Talk about this thing together. See, guys, we're fix-it. We like to fix it. We like to fix things, Man, I love Gorilla Glue and I love duct tape, man. They fix a lot of things. You know what I'm saying? And some WD-40 and it's all good. Women, you like to be heard, and you like to talk. And you know, and that's cool, so we got to work this out. And prayer does that for us, because you know what, guys? We can take things to God, and he can show us how to fix them the right way. You know, believe it or not, there's a right way to fix things without duct tape or without Gorilla Glue that really work. And it gives our wives an opportunity to talk and be heard to God, with God and with us. Plan a time to pray together. And here's the deal, not just at the end of the night, 3 minutes before you're going to bed. See, when you love somebody, you do crazy things for them. Girls, I know this deal. Guys, I kind of know this deal. Think back to high school or middle school. Ladies, when you saw that guy, that one that caught you. He was the quarterback. He was a stud. You went from getting up at 5:30 in the morning to getting up at 3:45 to get ready, just to make sure you could pass him in the hallway, and you looked good and you smelled right. You know, guys, middle school guys, you know, they're like, oh man, I got to get 30 cans of Axe body spray. It don't cover up armpit smell, it makes it worse. But they do this kind of stuff, you know? We do this. I wish I would have thought of Axe body spray, man. I would be rich. Anyway, we go to great lengths. When you love somebody, you do crazy things for them. What kind of time do you set aside for God? Is it the last 3 minutes when you're going to bed? Lord Jesus, I thank you for this day. No, man. Jesus is going to go out for lunch with you. He don't want a hot dog. He wants filet mignon. He wants the best because he gives us the best. Your wife, your soon-to-be wife, your girlfriend, they deserve the best. Quality time. Shutting off the football game, shutting off the Cubs game. Ooh, I like the Tigers, but the Cubs, man, it's their year. Back to the Future called it. I got a lot of money in Vegas riding on this thing. No, I'm just kidding. I saw a squirrel, and I took off on that. Get back on track here. So, shut the game off. You know, like I said, shut things off. Focus on one another. Spend some quality time. Put the kids to bed a little bit early so you guys have some quality time together. Wake up a little earlier. Some of you don't know that 5 a.m. comes twice a day. It truly does. Set some time to connect with one another. Pray for your needs in your family. Pray for growth. One of the cool things that I have the opportunity to do, and I just love it as a dad, is to be able to be at home and tuck my kids in. And I hate when I miss that. I hate it. But even when I do miss it, I always go in and I do the dad thing at the end of the night. I make sure all the doors are locked and all that. I grew up in Detroit, so the doors get locked, they get barred, everything gets locked down tighter than Fort Knox, man, you know. So, gun sitting next to the bed just in case. Hey, I'm from Detroit, man. I'm just telling you, that's how it is, how we roll. But I get to go in and I check on my boys and make sure the blankets are pulled up to them, they're covered up. And with each of them, I just say a little prayer. And I pray that God uses me to be a dad that grows them to be young men that love the Lord with all their heart. And I pray for their wives wherever they're at. Even right now, that God is blessing those young ladies, that God is pouring into their family, that he is preparing their family to connect with ours, and that we just have this great union together as my boys someday get married. Pray for growth in your family. Pray for those needs now. It's never too early. Connection, prayer is important. Making it real this week. This is what I want us to do. Identify your relationship with Jesus. This is where it starts. Grabbing God's word and letting it change your life. Letting it truly change your life. Letting him get a hold of your heart and change you from the inside out is important. Become a teachable person, not a know-it-all. Somewhere along my family line, my last name's Bland, and so somewhere in there it means know-it-all. We all know it all. I call my grandma and I talk to her about, I knew that was going to happen. You know, I do it. I hear Jack the other day, I knew that car was going to pull out in front of us. I'm like, I just screwed this up. I'm raising a know-it-all just like me. You know, hey, no. We've got to change that attitude. We think we know how to fix every situation. We think we know how to fix others. But we need to fix ourselves. Maybe some of you aren't married and you're in, and I've had people come to me, young people, adults, hey, I just don't understand. Every relationship that I'm involved in, it just gets ruined. Take a look in the mirror. I mean, hey, you think you're always right? I don't know about that. Your heart has to change. Make time to look at your weaknesses this week and how you communicate with your spouse and how you communicate with others. It says a lot. I'm telling you now, I've learned it. I saw it this week even in my life. How I go home and how I respond. My kids respond based upon that. My wife responds based upon that. If I have a good response, all's well. If not, I think I want to go back to work because it's not so good. How you respond makes a difference. Be willing to open yourself up. Be willing to spend some time in prayer, quality time in prayer together. It's important. Father, I just thank you for today. And I thank you that you teach us a lot about communication and how to do that, and you show us that through your word. And I thank you that you just love on us so much, and you give us an opportunity to come back and to do this thing right. I just pray for each marriage, for each couple that may be engaged or just together, dating, every relationship that takes place in our lives, that we would learn to communicate by listening with our heart, that you would truly change our hearts, that we would walk away changed, that we would go out and do these things. Doing something is what makes the difference, not just listening and pointing the fingers at others. So help us this week. I pray that as we go out, that you help us as husbands and wives and couples to love one another, to communicate well, to take these steps to do what it is you've called us to do, to communicate by listening with our hearts. I pray these things in your name. Amen. Before I go, I just want to make you aware of a couple things that I'm excited about. We have a marriage conference coming up here in November on the 13th and 14th. It's called I Still Do. And prior to last night, I had one guy come up and sign up as the couple. And I kind of took note of that, and I kind of expected that. That's usually what happens. Well, last night I put the challenge out there. Guys, why don't you sign up? You sign you and your wife up. See, I'll be honest with you. I kind of pushed against this weekend for this because there were some things that in my life I wanted to do. And God really pushed me back and said, no, you need this for you and your wife. You need this, and our church needs this. And I said, okay, God, I'm going to do it. Guys, you go out there, change your plans. Don't worry about that deer. It'll be there another weekend, I promise you. Or whatever the case may be, the fish, whatever it is, it's going to be there later. The football game, record the football game. I love watching college football. I really love baseball, but I like college football too. Record it. Watch it later. Love on your spouse. Sign up for this thing. It's like $68.50. It's not a ton. If it's an issue, come talk to me. We'll work it out. We'll get you there. I want to see you there with your spouse. Guys, get out there and get in that line. Sign up. You want to have some of that good exercise they were talking about in the video? Do this, man. Sign them up. Get the babysitter set. It's all going to be good. I'm telling you. Just take one out. I'm telling you. It'll work. So do this. Get out there and sign up for that. We want you to be here. We want to pack this place out. I think we've got seats for about 52 where we're going to have it. If we've got to add more, we'll add more. I would love to do that. The other thing that I'm super excited about, last weekend we talked about our CD release party that we're having, and Dayspring has put together a CD that's going to be coming out. I am pumped for this thing. If you haven't got your CDs yet, please do. The CDs are 1 for $12 or 2 for $20. And why we're doing the 2 for $20 is we want you to buy 2 and give 1 to somebody else. Each CD that you buy gets you a ticket into that event that night that we do it. Now, if you need extra tickets for others in your family, those tickets are going to be $5. And we've had to move to this because here's the deal. And I'm so pumped about this. I can't. I was talking to Jason about it this week. We want to have 2 shows. we want to have 2 CD release parties that night. We want to have one a little bit earlier and one later. So we need your help with this. Let's pack this place out twice. Let's push these CDs out the door and bring people in here to just have a great night of worship with God and just get this music into people's hands that need it, and they can see some life change. So right after the service, right after the gathering, we would just love you to sign up for that. Get some extra tickets, get some extra CDs. We sold almost just over 200 CDs. That's huge. That's awesome. Let's sell 100 more today, man, and get people in here. I love you guys. Stop by and connect with us after the service.